We're standing in the baptistry area of Sacred Heart Church, and there's a story about our baptismal font that I think is worth telling. Some years ago, when we were in the process of doing a renovation of the church, I got a telephone call one day from Joseph O'Connell. And Joseph O'Connell was the artist who designed our baptismal font, and also he designed the vine and the branches, which is on the wall behind me. It was based on the quotation of Jesus saying, "I am the vine, you are the branches." And it was central to Monsignor Hillenbrand's love of Scripture and love of that particular quote, that we all stay connected to Jesus. As long as we stay connected to Jesus, he was the vine, we are the branches, we would produce fruit. And that's what Joseph O'Connell designed to be the main piece of this church on the back wall of our sacristy. The baptismal font he also designed, and the story about that I'd like to share with you now. In any case, when Joseph O'Connell got the commission to do all this work, he was a young artist just starting out. He was literally a starving artist. He couldn't afford an apartment of his own. He lived in one room in a rooming house on the north side of Chicago. And in those days, there was a nightclub downtown. It was called the Blue Note, and it featured for many years a jazz trumpeter named Muggsy Spanier. And it turned out that Joseph O'Connell was living in a rooming house that was owned by Muggsy Spanier's sister and brother-in-law. And on Sundays, they had blue laws in Chicago in those days, and they could not serve alcohol. So the nightclub was closed on Sundays, and Muggsy would come over with his band, and his sister would fix dinner for all of them, and they'd have a little jam session. And Joseph O'Connell played a little saxophone, and he used to ask if he could sit in with Muggsy, and they became good friends over a period of time. Anyway, when we were about to do the renovation of our church, I got this call from Joseph O'Connell, who was then the fine artist in residence at a small Catholic college in Minnesota, St. John's. And he asked me what we were going to do about the vine and the branches in the baptismal font. And I said, we considered them to be treasures of the church, and we were going to keep them both. And he was pleased to hear that, of course. And then he told me the story. He said that when he had gotten to know Muggsy Spanier through living in his sister's rooming house, he had heard this story that Muggsy, when he was a kid, went to Holy Name Cathedral, to grammar school and high school, and he was a bit of a disciplinary problem. And the nuns were trying to channel his energies into constructive, shall we say, constructive things for him to do. He obviously had a great musical talent, and he would have loved to be a pianist, but he had a deformity on one hand. He only had 3 fingers on one hand. I'm not sure if that was a birth defect or by accident later on in life, but in any case, the nuns scraped together $60 and bought him a used trumpet. And of course, he could play the trumpet with the hand with just 3 fingers because there were only 3 valves on a trumpet. Anyway, when he designed this baptismal font, he decided to render the angel Gabriel on the side of the baptismal font with just 3 fingers as a tribute to his buddy Muggsy Spanier. And he told me the story on the phone that day, and I said, I can't believe it. What did Monsignor Hillenbrand say about having a 3-fingered angel on the side of his baptismal font? He said he never noticed, and I never told him. So anyway, this is the angel Gabriel, and there is the trumpet, and there are his 3 fingers, as indicated in Joseph O'Connell's story. Subsequently, I told the story to Father Farragon, who was the pastor at the time, and he loved it, and he said, can you get him to come down for the rededication of the church? And we could have him talk and tell that story. And I said, I'll call him and ask him. And I called him and asked him, and he said no, he couldn't come, and he didn't say why. And later on, I learned that he was dying of cancer at the time, and that's why he was unable to come. Subsequently, some of the people up there at St. John's sent me information about him after he had died, and one of the things they sent me was a story about a piece he did for a church, and I don't recall where the church was, but he did the 4 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, life-size statues of them. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, the address of the church where they were to be installed was 8321. So Matthew had 8 fingers, Mark had 3, Luke had 2, and John had 1. It was kind of his signature to his artwork to do that kind of thing. He was a very whimsical guy, very talented artist, and a very, very funny man. Anyway, that's the story of Muggsy Spanier and the baptismal font here at Sacred